Yo, before we get into this video, you better go subscribe to my second channel. I have a new cover up on my second channel, music by Madison.
I know supposedly I'm lonely now. No, I'm supposed to be unhappy without someone, but a nice someone. Yeah.
So yeah, after you watch this video, go ahead and click that link in the bio because I worked really hard on it. I'm going to be posting more covers on there, so let me know what you want to hear next. And also don't forget to subscribe to the Patreon. There's going to be podcast episodes, bonus videos, the whole shebang. Someone was like, you're sexualizing yourself as a child. You can't compare your current self to your child self. Yes, the I can. Who said anything about sexualizing kids? You can be a pretty kid. You can be a cute kid. That doesn't mean they're sexualized, you freak. So yeah, if you want to support me somewhere other than YouTube, then hit me up on Patreon. I'd really appreciate it. Now let's get on with the video.
Too black for the white kids and too white for the blacks from on the road to
Oh, she's talking about race again. Gird your loins. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about being an Oreo, or acting white. Honestly, I haven't been called an Oreo since like middle school, but I think it's an interesting topic and someone asked me to talk about this, so here we are. So if you have been on the internet at all, then you've probably seen that video of Kelly Stamps called Stop Calling Me Oreo. Kelly Stamps, if you don't know who she is a black YouTuber. She makes vlogs and stuff. Kelly Stamps has been compared to people like Candace Owens, and you know, people call her an Oreo, say she's trying to act white. Whatever that means. Her video is really funny. You should check it out if you haven't. But oof, when I watched that, it hit close to home. When I was in middle school and high school, I felt like that was definitely my experience. The first time I was called an Oreo was in middle school. This girl, Jada, came up to me. We were having a little conversation, and then for some reason it came up that, you know, she thought that I was an Oreo. And I think it's because I was talking about the music that I listened to. At the time, you know, I was Mrs. Roar XD. I was on my emo bitch. And I was really into punk music at the time. Screamo, Sleeping with Sirens, Pierce the Veil, you know the vibes. And so she said, oh, you're such an Oreo. Like, you act white, you listen to white people music, which we'll get into later, but I knew what it meant, so I wasn't like dumbfounded when she said it, but I was still really confused. You know, it's a really strange experience being a black kid in the suburbs, because it seems like if you act too black, then you won't fit in with the white kids or the other kids that aren't black, and if you aren't black enough, then the black kids don't see you as black. They don't accept you as who you are. And you know, that really made me struggle with my identity growing up. I mean, I always was struggling with my identity in some way as a kid. I hated being black when I was a really little kid, and then, you know, I got over that, but then when I was being myself, other black kids would say that I wasn't really black or I was white on the inside. And it's like, well, damn, then who am I? Because last time I checked, I'm fucking black. My parents are black, my siblings are black. What's not clicking? Just because I like to listen to a certain kind of music or I talk a certain way, it means that I'm not black? Because the thing is, I know as damn well the white kids are seeing me as black, but black people don't see me as black. It's fucking exhausting. Even though I haven't really been called an Oreo in like a very long time, I remember last summer I was talking to a friend and we were talking about being friends with white people and dating white people, and she said, you know, she couldn't ever date a white person and she doesn't really like to hang out around white people. And you know, I was like, yeah, I mean, I have a few white friends, it's like not really a big deal to me. And she's like, yeah, but you're and she was trying to find the words to describe me and my blackness, and I was just sitting there like, oh girl, I'm really going there. Is she gonna say it? Is she gonna say it? And she says, yeah, but you're like a chill black person. And I didn't really know how to take that because I mean, okay, yeah, sure, you can call me chill, but I don't really see how that has to do with my race. I think she was just trying to find a nice way of calling me an Oreo. I think when black people say this to me, they're coming from a place of ignorance, honestly, because any sort of broad stereotype like that is just so close-minded and lacks nuance in every way. But basically she was saying, you know, I have an easier time around white people because white people can digest me a lot easier. You know, I'm not, I guess, loud. I'm not like out here twerking in the streets and going, purr, smart every single day. I mean, I still do that stuff, but I don't know, I guess I just bring it out at certain times. Anyway, some people would also call me a palatable black. And by that, I mean, I'm a black person who is, again, easily digested. Digested sounds like it's cannibalism. I'm easily digested by white people. White people aren't necessarily threatened by my blackness because I don't exhibit harsh stereotypes. You know, like when people say, oh, like, you're so articulate, or you're not like other black people, you're different. And you know, it's one thing for white people to say these things, to use these stereotypes, but it's another thing when black people call me an Oreo or say that I act white, because it kind of feels like I'm being turned against by my own kind. You know, with all the racism and discrimination in the world, you would hope that your own people would accept you for who you are and not judge you for being yourself. But they do, and it hits different when it's your own people. So, you know, that shit really made me struggle because I felt like Earl Sweatshirt says, I'm too black for the white kids, too white for the blacks. And it just makes you feel so isolated and alone because you feel like you don't know who you are. And when you're a young kid, that's a very hard thing to grapple with. The thing about acting a certain race is that it's not really about acting like a certain race. It's just about acting like who you're surrounded by. You act like your friends. You act like your parents. I talk like my parents. I talk like my siblings. So it's not that I'm acting white. I'm just acting like how I was taught to act like. I mean, even my mom got this when she was a kid. She got told that she was an Oreo. So clearly it's it's a generational thing or something. You know, I always wonder, like, when black people say these things, what do they want? Like, do you want me to start acting and talking differently? Because if I just showed up talking completely different and acting different than I usually do, then you'd be like, what are you doing? Like, that's not who you are. That's weird. You're trying too hard. Whatever I do, it's not good enough. It's not black enough. Being a black kid in the suburbs is a fucking trip. I want to circle back to my first experience being called an Oreo and how my classmate said that I listen to white people music. Oh, you listen to white people music? I was like, oh girl, if only you knew. Who's gonna tell her? Who's gonna tell her? Black people invented rock and roll. So I don't really know what you mean by I listen to white people music because we created it. Now, I think the reason why I'm no longer called an Oreo is because, well, I'm not really the same person I was when I was in middle school. I don't have the side swoop. I'm not listening to screamo music on full blast every day while I'm waiting for the bus. I like rap music. I like hip hop. I like R&B. I don't straighten my hair anymore. I still basically talk the same. I guess I've leaned in more to what is deemed as acceptable or stereotypical for a black person to be like or to enjoy. I remember when I was in elementary school, this kid goes, Madison isn't a black name. You have a white name. And that truly confused me because I didn't know what that meant. I was like, what? I didn't know names had fucking color now. Do I need to be fucking Shaniqua Sharkeisha to be fucking black enough for you, Noah? But I will say he may have been onto something because my mother gave me the name that I have because she didn't want my name to have an effect on my career in my adult life. She didn't want my name on my resume to affect if I were to get the job or not, or even get an interview, because I have a name that is associated with a certain kind of person. People do this all the time. They give their black kids white passing names because they don't want their lives to be impacted negatively by something as simple as a name. It's crazy how black people have to consciously jump through hoops and make these decisions for their children because they are so afraid that the world will treat them differently. But then it's like, my last name is Brown and I'm brown, so it's like it doesn't really get more black than that, but okay. It really saddens me, to say the least, when black people put me and other black people into a box like this, because white people already do this. They already discriminate against us. They already push their stereotypes onto us. So why are we doing it to each other? We're always saying, you know, black people, we're not a monolith. We come in all different shapes and sizes. We're not all the same. But then at the same time, you call your fellow black folk Oreos. Like, what the kind of sense does that make? If we want white people to stop doing this to us, and we need to stop doing it to each other. It's ridiculous, and it's so counterproductive. It makes no sense. What are you getting out of calling me Oreo, huh? What are you getting out of saying that I'm not black enough? What does that do for you? I think deep down it comes from a place of insecurity, maybe, because they know that who they are is seen as sometimes ghetto or uneducated simply because they're just being themselves. And because to them, I have some sort of adjacency to whiteness because I speak the way that I do, that it fucks with their head, because maybe they think that because of the way that I am, then I will be more accepted by the white man. And honestly, I think there's something to that. I think because of the way that I speak, the way that I am, it perhaps will help me get through life a bit easier as a black person. Sometimes I wonder, is my YouTube success chalked up to my ability to appeal to white people? Gasp. I know, scary to think about, right? Because I know that white people watch my videos. I see y'all on Instagram. I see you guys following me, and a lot of the people who follow me are Caucasian. There's plenty of black folk in there and Asian, Hispanic, but it's mostly black and white. And it makes me think, does my success have anything to do with my ability to appeal to white people? It's something to think about. Obviously, I talk about black issues on this channel, so honestly, I was surprised that so many white people are with my content like that. But I guess in this day and age, white people want to educate themselves or whatever. It's really funny to me when white people DM me I'm so glad that you're making your content because you're educating white people. I'm like, my content is not to educate white people. That is not my purpose at all. I mean, great if somehow it is, but I'm not making content for white people, that's for sure. I got a couple of DMs from some white people, and they were like, how can I help the Black Lives Matter community? What can I do? Dude, you're asking the wrong bitch. I don't care. It's also not my job to tell you how to be an ally or what to do. I'm sure there are plenty of black people out there who are willing to do that, but I'm not the one. Sorry. I make content for everybody. I don't think it's necessarily for any one person. I mean, obviously, black people understand my content a lot better because we have similar experiences, but I think it's interesting that white people see me as this educator, like I'm some sort of black and white liaison or something. What I love about myself is that I'm able to communicate with almost anybody. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, I can probably communicate with you in a way that is easier for you to understand. That's actually something I get a lot from people who DM me or comment on my videos, is that I'm able to explain complex issues in a way that's easy to understand. And, I don't think that has anything to do with my race necessarily, but I do think maybe being black in America has helped me see situations from different sides. Being around white people as a kid and growing up around all different kinds of races, not just white people, Asian people, Hispanic people, etc., I'm able to communicate with all types of people because that's what I'm used to. That's just how I grew up. Unfortunately, in this world, if you're able to communicate effectively with white people, that does give you an upper hand. The less threatening I seem, the easier it is for white people to talk to me and accept. Even though I talk about race on my channel, this isn't a black issues commentary channel. This isn't a channel all about race. I talk about it sometimes because it's what I know and I find it interesting, and it's a very complex issue that could be talked about for ages, but that's not all that I'm about. I remember I got some comment that was actually, I got the comment right here. Let's read it aloud, shall we? I just started a YouTube channel, and all I can say is my channel is not going to talk about race at all. That seems to be every black girl's default, and honestly every black man, with even the smallest amount of influence to talk about being black. It is almost like an unwritten rule to do so. Can we just be normal without talking about race? Show them better than you can tell them. Yikes. Oh boy, I'm about to go in. What really struck me about that comment was the fact that she used the word normal, implying that being black isn't normal. Talking about being black isn't normal. Nigga, of course I'm gonna be talking about being black. Why wouldn't I? Listen, this is a commentary channel, so I'm gonna be talking about shit that I find interesting. Things that I actually know about. Of course I'm gonna talk about being black because I know what it's like to be black, and it's a very interesting experience to say the least. I think it's interesting that this person left this comment, considering that I wouldn't even say most of my videos are about being black. I made one black privilege video and this person just got really fucking triggered. This person is in the sunken place because if you think that it's abnormal to talk about being black, then I think you need therapy or something. And even if every single video was about being black, why is that a fucking problem? And this is the shit that I'm talking about. Even as a black person, black people have a problem with me because I'm black? Because I talk about being black? What does it even mean to be black? People have asked me this question a lot, and I find it hilarious. What does it mean to be black? To be black is to be black. Like, I'm not understanding. I don't think I'm even being like dim here. I just don't think it needs to be that complicated. Imagine asking a white person, what does it mean to be Caucasian? The way that we can solve this issue is by educating ourselves, of course, but also representation. I feel like it always comes down to representation because constantly black people are being represented in a very narrow way. It's always the stereotypes. That's what gets the limelight. Not, people like me who grew up in the suburbs or, people who didn't grow up in the hood. One of the reasons why I really love Tyler, the Creator, is because he helped me get through my middle school and high school years. He helped me feel less alone in my identity and made me feel a lot more comfortable with who I was as a person because he wasn't someone who fit in with the black kids or the white kids. He was himself, and through his music, he's given us permission in a way to just fully accept ourselves for who we are and not give a fuck what other people say about us and our identity. He has a song called Where This Flower Blooms, and he goes, tell these black kids they could be who they are, dye your hair blue, shit, I'll do it too. And when I heard that for the first time, I can't explain like how I felt. It was just like, yes, thank you. Like, you get it. And I'm not the only one. So yeah, people like Tyler, the Creator, Earl Sweatshirt, Childish Gambino, all those people, they really helped me just lean into who I was. Childish Gambino also has a really great song about this called Hold You Down. And he goes, but niggas got me feeling I ain't black enough to go to church. Culture shock at barbershops cause I ain't hood enough. We all look the same to the cops, ain't that good enough? The black experience is black and serious, cause being black, my experience is no one's hearing us. White kids get to wear whatever hat they want. When it comes to black kids, one size fits all. He said it. He said it all right there in that song. I guess I can end it there then. Thanks for watching. I can't believe I'm filming during the day. Can you believe it? I hope the vibes aren't too off. I know I usually got the vibey lighting and shit, but I needed to get this done. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Do the thing. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
Run it, run it, run it, run it. All right.